I don't think he questions that his starting group and his veterans have bagged on this because they played pretty well. I think, though, he's looking at a team that now, at one of the rare times in his tenure, has agendas other than pure winning. I mean, Klay Thompson is trying to desperately break the shooting slump. Jordan Poole, wants to be a starter and, has been profoundly inconsistent. Jonathan Kuminga, nothing. James Wiseman, nothing. Moses Moody, nothing. I mean, I think they're all trying to figure out, hey, when do we get to our turn? And the fact is, they should have known, and no later than the parade, that their turn is not coming yet. And if that's getting in the way of their ability to apply themselves to the things the Warriors want them to do, then shame on them. But I do believe that there is not a unity of thought on this team for one of the rare times in the Kerr era. And I don't think that they're tuning him out. They just have other things that they think are more important right now. And again, that's not the starters. That's the backups.
Yeah, we know who I'm criticizing when I'm criticizing this team. And it isn't the starters. The starters are one of the highest functioning groups in the NBA. Everything else with the team, though, there's something wrong. And if we're totally honest, among the starters, there's something deeply wrong with two of them. And we'll get to them in just a second. But from the 510, it says, Damon, this is from Chef Amy. She says, is anybody getting better from this bench as far as you can see? Or do they just all, suck and won't get any better? No one's not going to just, they're incapable of getting better. Like, I do think we're going to get a much better Dante DiVincenzo at some point here. I can't imagine JaMychal Green is going to get much worse than this. I would like to think that Moses Moody, if given playing time, could justify his playing time. I'd like to think that Jordan Poole will be better than the every other game effort that, this team's getting out of him right now. Someone from the 650 says, Damon, are you the first Bay Area media personality to call the Warriors soft on record? No. I mean, if I am, what the hell has everyone else been watching? This is soft. When your 6'3" when your 6'3" point guard is your leading rebounder, by definition, you're soft. That's it. When you have the worst defense we've ever seen in your head coach's era, that's soft. When you have as bad of a defense as you can find in basketball, when you have as bad of a plus-minus as a group can have in basketball, you don't need a sports talk radio host to call you soft. You just are. You are. Again, Steve Kerr has got enough respect for the guys in the room and what they've done for him that he won't call them that. The Warriors haven't done anything for me. They haven't, allowed me to buy a mansion in Pacific Heights. They have not put 4 diamond rings on my fingers. So I don't owe them anything other than the truth. And right now, the truth is the Golden State Warriors aren't just a little off. They suck. And they no longer have this ability to just let it all happen on their own timeline. They really don't. They can't wait around for things to just get better. I mean, this whole, like Andre Iguodala, either throw down your walker and start playing basketball, Grandpa, or we got to give your seat to someone who can play. I don't know more what to say. This team doesn't have the luxury of stowing away Andre Iguodala like canned goods before the tornado hits. The tornado's here. You need all the provisions you have stored in the storm shelter right now. You don't have time to wait. You really don't. Sure, they don't want to play Steph Curry 40 minutes a night. How are they supposed to win without it? Right now, they ain't gonna. If you're comfortable with losing, yeah, have that minute restriction out there. But if you're comfortable with losing, what the hell you doing caring about Steph Curry's how his career ends anyways? because this has got to not be sitting well with you. They owe him more than they're giving him. And what they gave him, unfortunately, are players who just ain't fitting the bill. Again, until somebody gets consistent minutes. And I'm not saying like, oh, we saw him for a game, he played well. But I'm talking like a month to where you're like, all right, that guy's officially in the circle of love now. He's in the inner circle. James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Patrick Baldwin Jr. are just non-factors. Jordan Poole, he only shows up to play every other game. That's not sustainable. That's not. And he only shows up halfway to play every other game. Like he shows up offensively half the time. He shows up defensively none of the time. That's hard to work through. And then let's, since we're in the truth-telling business here, Ray, and this is going to be the truth that hurts the most. This team's got to stop looking at Klay Thompson through the prism of what he's done for them. And they need to start looking at him through the prism of what he's doing for them now. And what he's doing for them now is helping the other team win games. I'm sorry to say it. Everybody loves Klay Thompson. Again, he's not low maintenance. He's zero maintenance. He boats into work. He wears a captain's hat. He's got a dog we all really like. I love Klay Thompson. His bona fides are spoken for. He will go to the Hall of Fame. I don't think this team can really count on him ever giving them a huge spell of sustained greatness ever again, Ray. I don't think it's going to happen. He'll give them a good night. He'll give them a good week. He'll give them a good month. He'll get shots to drop. He always does. He's Klay Thompson. That's what he does. But his off nights are now far too common. And if we're totally honest, his off nights were also present during the peak of his powers. He's always been, for a guy who's regarded as a great shooter, a little bit of a streaky shooter too. And right now, he can't stay in front of anybody. He can't. I mean, this whole Klay Thompson could never go to the bench thing, I don't want to hear it. You don't have that luxury anymore. They don't. They don't do, well, we can't have Jordan Poole come into the starting five and Klay go to the bench. We just can't do that to Klay. Shut up. You better consider that. There's no avenue of, we don't even have to consider that, left available to the Warriors. They need to consider everything right now, including a demotion of Klay Thompson if it brings out a better Jordan Poole, because Jordan Poole's got to be this team's second leading scorer, because no one else on a nightly basis seems to want to be.
I guess, but Poole hasn't exactly lit it up either. And I think that's part of the problem too. It's that no second unit guy has gone into the starting lineup at any point in a game and not had the starting lineup suffer for it. Just the raw metric numbers, even Thompson with his shooting problems, which I think have been occupying way too much of his mindset, they're still better with him in the lineup than not. And that's the bigger condemnation for me, is if a guy who's shooting 45% effective field goal percentage, which is terrible for him, is still better than what the alternative is, then you've got no alternatives. And that's the problem. Jordan Poole either has to step up and become that guy who is irresistible, or Thompson's going to keep the gig. I just think it's, it's no more complicated than that. I don't think that Steve Kerr at this stage is holding on to much of anything except that, Wiggins, Curry, and Looney have to start every game. But everything else, I think, is in play. And the truth is, nobody on the second unit has given them reason to say, yeah, let's do this now.
Well, if they keep on doing the same thing over and over again, they won't even make the playoffs.
Well, they may not. Maybe this is who they are this year. Maybe they radically overachieved last year.
Maybe they did. Maybe this is where people start getting off the ride. I mean, I don't know, but everything that I've seen from this team so far that I've tried hard to dismiss either as slow start or small sample size, it's starting to add up because you can have off nights. You can be guilty of a poor rebounding evening. You can be guilty of a bad night. You can't be guilty of being soft. And the Warriors are a soft-ass basketball team right now, and Draymond Green ain't the brass knuckles he used to be, and Jonathan Kuminga is a powder, and James Wiseman is a powder, sullen, sulky, just everything's wrong. I mean, everything's wrong. And here's the deal. They got a Knicks game tonight, which hopefully is at home, and they play well and start feeling a little bit better. Because if they go to Houston and lose on Sunday, they're dead men walking. I mean, you can't be 0-9 for the first time in franchise history with now a loss in Houston as well, and asked to be taken seriously by anybody in this league. Maybe you can turn it around, but it's going to take months of effort to erase what would be a loss in Houston from the memory bank. That would be bad.